Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Time to Talk. How are you, Faye?
Hello, Rafael. All right, thanks. You?
Very
Nice
good.
to,
Very good.
nice to be back.
Yes.
Yes.
It is my pleasure to be here with you, Faye, once again.
Yes.
And this is our Time to Talk. What is Time to Talk? Time to Talk is a little chat program, I would say, a little encounter where we, every couple of weeks, we meet and we discuss a topic related to mediumship.
Yeah.
Idea that is not meant to be a lecture, is not meant to be just us dumping and dropping content. It is to have an open discussion about mediumship, trying to give people the possibility of bringing up their comments, their questions, their stories. And for that, I would say if you are joining us, drop a note, tell us where you are, and please feel free to, at any point, drop your comments or questions. We're going to bring them up during our conversation. And today we have a super short topic. Very short, very simple, very basic. Responsibility. But before we get to what that means, let's say thank you to our broadcasters. First of all, the Spiritist Society of London, SSL, is a study group based here in the UK where we have multiple initiatives dedicated to studying Spiritism. We have face-to-face meetings, online meetings. If you'd like to follow us and check, go follow our page. SSL is affiliated to BUS, the British Union of Spiritist Societies. BUS works like a federation trying to unite and help the multiple Spiritist groups here in the UK, and also be a point of contact internationally with other groups in other countries. Last but not least, Kardec Radio. Kardec Radio has been also around for many, many years now, over 12 years, bringing a lot of content around Spiritism in English to all of us. Go check their page, go like their Facebook, YouTube, etc., so that you don't miss out on anything. All right. Today is our episode 66.
Yes.
And I thought a lot about what would be the phrase to put here. And I wrote and I deleted this word so many times that I think in the end I said, you know what, I think I'm going to leave it. Because I want it to be impactful, I want it to be broad, and I want it to be provocative in the sense of reflection. And that's why I put responsibility.
Right.
Fair.
Yes.
Here it goes.
Yeah.
Under the perspective of mediumship.
Yeah.
When I say responsibility, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Before you answer,
Sure.
let's check if there's anything online, anyone online, drop us what comes to your mind from the perspective of mediumship. When you talk about responsibility, what comes to your mind? Go, Faye.
Well, when I first saw the word, it's sort of a shift between two concepts. I thought of responsibility and accountability, and as a medium, so this all takes me back, makes me think of the things that we keeping our words, things that we agree to do, so we establishing a link of reliability and of care. Yeah.
Elaborate. So what are the keywords that I got from you that I wanted to hear a bit more is accountability and care.
Yeah. Because we will say you can say one is responsible in the sense that one feels the duty or has or accepts the duty to deal with something, or is responsible in the sense of having control over something or overseeing, which I'm not sure if that would be the case. But then you can talk somebody being responsible for being one who has somehow chosen to be or ended up being in charge of caring, a duty of care, or it's usually because it has chosen to take that duty of care. Yeah. I find it a bit more difficult to think in terms of being responsible for something as being the overseer or being controlling. How would that fit with within being a medium? Can we oversee anything? Can we control? Can we guide? Maybe we can. In that sense, if we accept, and this is all comes from free will, isn't it? If we accept a certain position, a certain duty, then we are telling people, well, there's a bond of trust. We're going to do our best to keep the continuity of whatever, of a certain state of wellness.
So many things are coming to my mind.
Yeah, so rescue, help.
It's interesting because as you were saying things and you were asking questions, there was an element. You asked one question, which was, can we control things and so on? And to which point did we accept that element, that skill, that ability, that experience, which would be being a medium? And I think there is, whenever we're talking about mediumship here, we always bring a perspective that actually goes beyond mediumship, which is if we treat everything that we have as an asset that is entrusted to us. And then I'm not talking only about mediumship. I'm talking about anything.
Yeah.
Do we become responsible for how we employ the things that are entrusted to us? And that is, it is grounding, because that is a perspective that it puts back on us, right? It is. At the end of the day, it is, right? The responsibility that comes with how I use the things I have available to myself, including my time, including my health, including my resource, including whatever it is.
Yeah.
My intelligence, my knowledge, my ability of speaking, my speech, my all of my skills, all of that.
Yeah.
It sits with me in the end. What am I going to do with this? So if I come from the same principle, I treat mediumship as something that was entrusted in me and given, lent to me. I have the responsibility of how am I applying this? How am I using this?
Yeah.
Right? So I believe that when you're saying about, okay, but what about do we control? You started to go into a different aspect, which I think it's quite interesting. So if I start from the point that, yes, I do have a responsibility for how I use an ability that I have.
Yeah.
Now, can I control it?
You can. Well, it's good that we talk like that, because then the ideas will develop in a very nice way. If we accept the fact is, like you say, like in everything or anything, in any situation in life, if we are appointed or asked to do something and we accept it, this means that we may not have a full understanding of how far things can go, of all the implications, and we may learn play by ear. We just go, we learn along the way and supported by friends, but it doesn't mean that we have a full vision of what that function or that duty entails. But we sort of choose to be up for it and be and look positively to see, thinking that there will be situations, there will be difficulties, there will be tricky times, but we, as a principle, we're saying to others and to ourselves, okay, I'm ready to try and do my best at having a positive view over that, see how I can overcome difficulties so I don't lose my target. I don't lose my focus.
Great keyword again that you dropped. Target. Because as you were speaking of that, I was thinking about if I go back about the idea of control, right? And if you think about people that might find themselves mediums or start to realize that they have mediumship. But what we know is from what we study is that, yes, you are able to control mediumship in the sense that you control your body. And therefore, your body cannot be used outside of you allowing it.
Yes.
However, there might be situations where you don't know how to control it, or you might not be on top of it, and then spirits might take advantage of the case and so on. But go back to the key word that you used, which was target, focus. Learning, understanding that you are in a situation, understanding that it's new, understanding that it's unbalanced, but looking for where am I going to understand this? How am I going to practice this? How am I going to develop it? How am I going to learn how to keep sounded, controlled, secured, and etc.? That comes with that target, with that focus. Without that intention to do that, you won't be able to bring it to balance. You won't be able to control it.
Yeah. But the thing, and in following that same line of thought, I think it's, again, we're not seeing mediumship as anything detached from any process in life. On the contrary, it's very much part of life, and it would be unrealistic to try to see it differently. It's not like some miraculous phenomenon that comes from a parallel universe that you don't know where from and what for. It may be from another universe, but it's something that is as much part of the journey, and it is a journey in itself. And like in any journey, I think there are times when you have to stop and reassess it and say, is this the right way? Is this the right way? Am I going, if I want to achieve that target, is this the best way to do it? Or am I overcomplicating things? Am I making things more difficult than they need to be? Or am I missing something? Am I not taking into account some very important phases of it? I mean, it's not exactly the thing that you have shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Maybe on a trip, on a journey, you can find a shortcut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's not like you snap your fingers and you're there.
Yeah. Exactly. Faye. Yeah, it totally does. Just want to say hello to a couple of people that we have here. I want to say hello to Gladys.
Nice.
Hi, Gladys. And I want to say hello to Pooja. Pooja was asking if she could ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is quite an interesting one, because she's saying, look, that she is single. Her parents passed away, but she stays in her parents' house. And her married brother and sister trouble her a lot for property, which they say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm not sure we can help with that, Pooja. Pooja, if there's something related to mediumship, we are happy to help you. But I'm not sure if I understood your question. Is it related to mediumship? Just drop me another note to clarify that. Anyways, as Pooja is dropping another comment for us, going back to what you were saying, Faye, you mentioned that the perspective. So you talk about the journey and the moments where you have to stop and reflect. What kind of journey do you want to go? Which direction should I be following, and so on? And that made me think about what is behind mediumship. Somebody having mediumship, ostensive mediumship, in their life, right? In that specific experience.
Yeah.
And we, in many cases, when we start to think about and study about reincarnation, we understand that before you are born again, for many people, there is a detailed plan of what are the things that I'm going to face, what kind of big items am I going to face in their life, what kind of experiences am I going to go through, just so I develop what I need to develop, and so on. And we understand that for many people who come and find themselves as mediums, that element was part of their planning. And together with that, there was study and clarification and commitment with how to use that mediumship, what to use the mediumship for, what should the mediumship in that person, in that journey, trigger in terms of thoughts and reflection. So it goes back to what you're saying, Faye, which is the moment where you stop and you have to think, where am I going? Which direction am I going? What kind of information is being brought to me? What do I need to reflect and realize based on a new perspective that might be showing up to me?
Mm-hmm.
For example,
yeah,
eternal life, spirits, and so on. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, because I think we need to be honest and say that whenever we I'm sorry, I can hear an echo. Is the sound all right?
It sounds all right here, yeah.
Okay. When we realize that there is mediumship in us, and this is part of our life, and then we have to make a first decision, which is a first decision as incarnate spirits, because it's one thing is it coming to is taking the commitment before we're born. Now, when we grow up here, we're born and grow up here, things may take take changes and challenges, and it may take a while until we realize that there is mediumship as one of our abilities, as one of our assets or skills, and then we need to decide what we want to do with it. And there may be fear, there may be doubt, and there may be fear and doubt many times, not just once. It's not just at the time of a decision, because from the moment you decide to carry on through that path, we know, even if I say, all right, I accept my mediumship and I want to work with it, and I want to make it a tool for love and peace. That's what I'm here for. How this is going to happen is another story, because I'm not really fully aware of what I'm going to encounter in my development, in my studies. I know that there is a sequence of studies that is never ending. It is going on and on and on, and in the end, it's going to add up to whatever it is that I've learned before, and I learn after I move on to another dimension. Yeah. But this is one thing I need to do. Some people have this wonderful ability, this power of faith that is unshakable. It's there, it's strong as a rock. For other people, there may be still the faith, but there's still lots of questions. And I think we shouldn't be afraid of those times when there are questions, because I think there are times of assessment. It's like, say, well, is this right? Am I doing it right? Am I in the right place? Is this what I believe? And so, well, yeah, this is what I believe. But why do I say that? Because I have to have the courage to look around and see other ideas, other strains of ideas, other questions, and pose myself and ask myself all those questions to see, where am I? Where exactly am I? What is it that I believe? Well, I believe my original root. So then, yeah, okay, I'll carry on. But not because I close my eyes and ears not to see or hear anything else. That's easy. If one chooses to go blindly to a target, It doesn't matter what happens to the site. It may work. But if you choose not to go blindly, but you go because you develop that faith or that understanding, that's a different story. It may take a little longer, maybe not, but that's another way.
Yeah.
And when I think of responsibility, to me, that implies in being open to all the questions, all the stones on the way. Okay, not just imagining that there won't be any problems, or stopping at the first stone, the first boulder, first pebble.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you are spot on in the additional perspective that mediumship brings. So let's say, for example, you're a medium and you are able to see, hear, or channel spirits and so on. And having this certainty, what does it mean? What should mean, right? It should mean that you shouldn't have any doubt about eternal life, about spirits, about the idea that life goes on, about the idea of reincarnation, depending on how
Yes.
well you communicate with them. But those things might be simple, but in reality, the contact with those ideas in an irrevocable way should trigger a changing perspective towards life. Right?
Yeah.
So to the point that you're talking about challenges, issues, facing or finding different questions and different paths, and then
Yes.
learning from them, it also brings perspective that the challenges that you see, that you have on your way, they might be there for a reason. They might be there so that you avoid making a specific mistake, or fall into a specific trap, or make you resist some tendencies that you might have that will go against what you need to develop. Well, all of that comes part of a bigger, a deeper reflection that comes out of the idea of immortal life, spiritual life, reincarnation. The idea that if you have any specific ability, there's a reason, and it comes with a responsibility on how you're going to use it. All of these things, these are things that will depend on reflection, right? It's very easy to say, oh, I can see spirits, and that's it, and stop there. But then what about the rest that should come with that? We have the ability to reflect and think and study and research and look after things and ask, right? But unfortunately, we still see a lot of cases where we ended up missing the big opportunities, development opportunities, right? And those things, I think they come and go, and without we even realizing. We just, if you're not paying attention, life kind of happens, and we don't even give much reflection. I think that's why you're bringing back the idea of what is the reflection that should come from something new that is presented to you. How does that change the way you see your life? How does that change the way you are prioritizing things, searching for things, making decisions, etc.?
Yeah. It's So you mentioned the another thing that I find is basic, is vital. I can't imagine mediumship without reflection. Even if I think, even if if the medium is very sure and very settled and very tranquil in the way that they're going to work, there's always room to reflection. It's to say, from saying, am I doing this right? Can I improve it? Can I, is my perception accurate? Can I refine it? But it may be the case of also of thinking, well, am I doing this because I've been told to do? No, nobody tells you to do. You do it because you want to. Yeah, that's free will.
Yeah.
In a way, it's free will, unless we're a very special case of that's been organized at another department. But most, it's pretty much free will. So if you think, am I going to disappoint my friends and everybody else? Maybe. But they will mend, because the system, the universe, will mend itself, will find ways. It's not going to collapse because one element is absent. But it will be enriched if all the elements are together. So if I am the element that steps down, I'm the one to be disappointed of myself. Unless I'm pretty sure, I say, well, I'll deny I'm a medium, but I don't want to do anything about it. That would be a bit risky to do, because I know that being a medium, it's not affects me as a system, affects me as a physical body and a component. The energy that I'm not using has got to go somewhere. And that if that energy doesn't flow, it's just like anything that doesn't flow, it stagnates and it becomes dangerous, it becomes negative. And so why am I? If people say, well, if we're meant to keep this body healthy, if we're meant to move for at least 30 minutes, at least, if we do that, 30 minutes, they'll be fine. But if I decide, well, I'm going to do even 5, what's going to happen? I am choosing all the consequences that I'm about to face, because it's been my choice not to do anything, to care for my body, and I need it. I really need it to move about.
Yeah.
I think the same goes to shape.
Yeah.
It's part of the organism.
I've been thinking of the one of the reasons why we brought this theme today was it was part of the book The Messengers, right? It's a book from Chico Xavier, making in English.
Xavier, yeah.
Xavier.
Francis Xavier.
Yeah, Francisco Xavier or Xavier. Anyways,
yeah.
It's called The Messengers, and it's a very, very interesting book where André Luiz is explaining or sharing with us his experience as he follows this group of spirits who are involved in helping others with mediumship and with other types of rescue work and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are specific part of the book, or in the beginning, a few chapters,
Yeah.
where André Luiz is meeting these other spirits that have also disconnected, and they all part of this group where they are, I guess, learning and readapting to the spiritual world after they passed.
Yes.
And they are assessing or reassessing the issues that they had in their lives, the plans that were part of their life that didn't go according to plan because of the decision that they made.
Yes.
And they're very, very, very good cases, and they bring us such a wider understanding of life, and how life is planned to move and guide us through the experiences that we need, that will help us. But because we are short-sighted, we end up focusing just on the now, on the material elements, on my comfort and what's easier or better for me. And then we end up missing on the opportunities. And if I may, there's one case that they are long cases, so unfortunately we cannot read all of them here, but there's one case that
Yes.
I'll try to tell this story in a short way.
Right.
Which is, I think is the first one, because it's Otavio's experience. And as a background, Otavio was a spirit that had his life, and during his life he made a lot of bad choices and had issues with a lot of people. And then once he passed, he was taken into this colony, let's say, this area where people are working and trying to help one another so they can understand the issues that they had in the past, make plans on how to fix them, learn about the realities of spiritual life and so on. And he was in this colony working for like many, many years and planning his new incarnation for many, many years. And he was meant to come in this new incarnation, and he would be a medium. The idea is that he would be involved with mediumistic work, and he'll be able to help many institutions and groups with guidance and so on, because he would bring the connections from the benefactors and the higher spirits that worked in that colony that helps many spirits. But how was that all meant to unfold? He would be born in a family, and his mother would be very religious. She would be a very good Christian and know about things, and would kind of help him and educate him. And in a certain point, he would be faced with the opportunity of receiving 6 orphan kids. That these 6 orphan kids were meant to be spirits that helped him a lot in his preparation. They would be born after him, and he would have this moment in his life where he would have the opportunity to adopt them. And through that process of dedicating himself to them and so on, that would end up keeping him from being married, having his own family and so on. But it would allow him to focus on those kids and develop his commitment for the mediumship and all of the plans that he had. That was the plan in very simple terms, because that's how they go, right? What happened? He came to life, everything happened, everything as planned. He was born, his mother helped him. His mother had, I think, 3 other kids. But unfortunately, she passed when he was still young. Then his dad married again, and his second wife had 3 kids. So he ended up like having 3 brothers and sisters plus the 3 other kids from his mother-in-law.
Right.
And then when he was still a young adult, I think around his 18th or 20th anniversary, he lost his father, and then right after he lost his mother-in-law. by that point, he had already initiated his understanding of mediumship. He started to see things, started to hear things. He was clarified about the work that he was meant to be involved with and help in the groups. He was already part of the groups that could help him develop his mediumship.
Mm-hmm.
But he decided not to trust on that. He thought all of those things that he was seeing and hearing, they were all hallucinations. And he decided to move away from that spiritist group and searched different ways of curing what he was having.
Right.
And what happened was he ended up getting involved with other types of therapy that were very unconventional, that ended up guiding him through a very promiscuous path. And when the time came that the kids had no one else, because all of the other adults had passed, he wasn't there for them. He didn't take on that responsibility that was meant for him. And all of his mediumship was deviated and misused with this other path that he ended up choosing for himself. Anyways, and then his life kind of unfolds even further with that as a consequence of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was he got to the other side and he was really upset because he had all of the plan, all of the help, multiple benefactors involved. Yes. He had no excuse about knowing about eternal life, spiritual life, all of the hardship that in theory he would go through to make sure he was providing for the kids, to make sure that he was focusing on what was right, to be the example for them. That for us, we would be like, oh, this is a tough situation we need to avoid and so on. But which is all true, but that is what would have kept him in the right path.
Right.
That's what would have made him a good example for the kids.
Yes.
So this example for me, it's very sobering and it's very grounding because it just shows us very clearly all of these reflections and ideas that need to come from the understanding of spiritual life, the understanding that comes with mediumship. Right, Faye? What else was then? Anything else that when you were reading those cases that came to your mind or that touched you in a specific way?
Yes, that was something related to what you were saying, and it's when one of the elders or one of the instructors, let's say, or leaders in that communications department, I think, it was talking about the getting all those failed mediums together for retraining, and they said, well, even the ones who hadn't been mediums but they were being prepared to be, they had to be trained and have a full appreciation of what that ability involved, because there were so many failed ones that they failed along the way because of the choices that they made or the choices that they didn't make. And even though having given up on trying, given up on even the slightest form of mediumship manifested in them. Well, if you say, well, you have an intuition, you have a perception. It's when you put some more materialistic interest on top of perception. So that kind of, Yeah, I know it doesn't sound very good. I know it's not, I don't. It's not really ethical, but and then that those sort of misconceptions that made them fail along the way, and in the end, it didn't mean that they wouldn't. They would just get away with that. That meant that that commitment, that responsibility was the word given, and they will have to stand by it.
Mhm.
And they have to be retrained and still do the job. Not because they would have to, because that would be perhaps the best solution, the easiest, or the less painful, perhaps, way of sorting out the wrongs that they had left behind.
Yeah.
So it's not as if, well, you do it because it's been a ballot and you've taken the golden ticket. That's not how it works. It comes as a solution, a practical and very noble form of trying to amend, appease the things that were left wrong behind, and that we thankfully are not allowed to remember. Otherwise, we will probably have the emotional, psychological structure to carry on. I was listening to a very famous doctor and teacher, a surgeon, who's a medium. And he does this work of studying mediumship. He's written about 10 books. And he says, I know, he says this is very sure of his position as a doctor, as a surgeon, because he knows he has a very good idea of how much harm is done before in previous lives. And he says, and I'm grateful to God that I can't remember everything, because otherwise, in this life that I'm working, and I work full time in every single minute for my mediumship and for my profession as a doctor. If I had the the faintest idea who's in front of me, who is it that I'm looking after, it could have been, it might have been somebody who was dear to me, but more likely to be somebody who I've done huge harm in the past. And now this person just comes back to me for me to put it right. And that's say his name. This is Dr. Frutois. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's worked for 50 years or 40 years with material. What do you call it? When they materialize, when the spirits materialize.
Mm-hmm. Materialization, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very special center in Rio. And he says, well, I've been doing that, and I go there and I sit in the same chair and I do whatever I need to do. And if it's to sit and pray, that's how I do.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that we need to stop ducking the responsibility, right? I think that's the thing. The opportunities will come to us to make the decisions where we can either prioritize ourselves or prioritize whoever is in need in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that will come throughout life, regardless if you're a medium or not. The fact that you are a medium forces you to say, I understand that there is life after death. I understand there is this. And so there's that perspective that should be there. But you don't know when mediumship will be developed in you. And the responsibilities that you can take or avoid in the situations that are in front of you, they might be part of that journey.
Yes. And may I add that the responsibility also involves being very honest about what you do with it. You know, what sort of associations, because that is just, it's like another form of association. What sort of links does the medium choose to make? What sort of environment does he choose to work in? For what purpose? If it doesn't have to be spectacular, you know, there's a lot of seeing there, and sometimes there's a lot of on the media, on TVs and internet, and there's fantastic paranormal, spectacular things. Well, there are people who can make it, but it's usually on the backstage of life that people work the best, you know. And so what sort of links do people does the medium decide to make? If it's one to do good, fine. Any little bit of good is great. Okay. If good is good, you know, more or less, if you do the best to their abilities. Now, if they decide to use that for something that's less than good, then that becomes a huge problem, because then it's adding to the injury. It's adding problems to the previous problems. So it's getting a huge debt with life.
Yeah.
Because it's having the opportunity to do something, to put something right, even minimally, and choosing not to.
Yeah. It comes down to what you always mention, which is your commitment to your personal growth, your moral development.
Yeah.
And I just want to say something, that it's not, this is, we know it's, whether you're a medium or not, I think that is what should be moving you. And the fact that I just want to put my hand up and say, like, the fact that I'm talking about this and that I know about this does not make me any better than anyone, right?
No.
I still face a lot of opportunities in my life and decisions, and where I have to, okay, this is going to benefit me, this is going to benefit others. And the first thing that comes is, okay, let me just go with the one that's going to benefit me. It is something that we still need to work on and work towards. But I think in the end, if we're going to boil it down to, is when the opportunity comes and you have a choice in terms of, is it helping me or is it helping others? Go with it's helping the person in front of me. And there's no secret. It's just intention and trial and awareness and commitment. It's not just a matter of like heard and now I know. It's more of a how do I commit to improving myself, which is the challenge, right? I wish I had the answer.
Yeah, it's well, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if I don't want to make it like a dramatic take on things, at the end of the day, it's going to be a missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity to feel good, because it's a wonderful feeling that when we feel that we get something right, You know, you're doing a test at school and you get good marks. That's a good feeling. You know, do something that's helped someone, and that person shows a gratefulness, or you see that the result is solid and positive. That is a good feeling. But there's even more longer lasting feeling, which is the one that say, well, I've got this ability, probably because without it, it would take me very long to put things right, you know, to do all the mess I've left behind. Would probably take far too long. So they've given me this bonus. All right. Okay. So moving on. And it is a wonderful feeling to see that whatever you do well, caringly, is good. It feels good.
Don't run away from the responsibility. Embrace it.
Yes. Yes, it doesn't. I don't like this to leave like a mood of a you know, of something heavy. You know, it's a burden. Well, it's a mediumship. It's your burden. It's something for you to repent from the past sins.
Yeah.
It's given you because we repented.
Yeah.
That's done. That's understood. Move on.
Yeah.
Now that's the tool to move on. All the rest is okay. It's settled, done, understood, finished. Next phase.
Yeah.
Turn the page. New leaf.
Yeah. That's great, Faye.
Yeah.
Very, very good. But unfortunately, our time is up.
Yeah.
Before I go to announcements, I just want to say thank you to Gladys, Pooja, and Itzen for their message and their notes, for being here with us.
Thank you.
Good to know that they are there. And let me quickly get our announcements. So there you go. Here, the usual ones. So every Wednesday we have Spiritual Light with different topics and different guests. So go check Bus and Cardiac Radio channels so you don't miss out. And if you'd like to know and understand a bit more about mediumship, every Saturday we have the Mediums Book online course. So feel free to join us. Have the details here from the Zoom link. And every week we pretty much go through item by item, reading, discussing, asking questions. It's very good. It's at 10:30 a.m. UK time. And that's it for today.
Yeah.
Faye?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Hope to see you again in 2 weeks.
Yes. And I hope to have our friends back in 2 weeks. When we're going to bring another exciting topic.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just saw that Guilherme and Natalia are also here with us. So
Hey,
hello you.
hello you.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And hope to see you all around.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bless you.